Well, I was living with my grandparents for most of my life, and then I finally moved with my mom when I was 14 and a half, about 15. And when I moved with her, it was totally different because I had my little brothers there, whereas with my grandma I only had my sister there, which was my age. So it was a big difference, and my mom was drinking a lot and doing drugs a lot, so it made it a little harder, and she was dating a lot, so she was always out and I was always stuck babysitting. Um, and then the rules were different too because I had to do a lot more, whereas with my grandparents I didn't. She needed me to do more, and it kind of made it hard, right? I wasn't used to that, and also I wasn't used to living with her. Of course I rebelled, and a lot of the times I got kicked out for stupid reasons, but some of the times were logical reasons, right? I didn't want to go to school. So she wanted me to get a job. I couldn't find a job, so it's a matter of, well, either you get a job or moved on the streets. So I kind of rebelled a lot, and I ended up getting put into group homes. And then I'd run away from my group homes because I didn't want to live with my mom. And I'd run away and go to my mom's, and my mom would send me back to the group homes. So then I started running away and staying with friends, and I got kicked out of the group homes. But then I got into trouble. I got into drugs a lot and got into drinking a lot and got into trouble with the law and ended up in jail a few times. I'd have to panhandle to make money to eat, and I was 15, so it was kind of hard to be able to get a shelter because the only ones that would take you were the youth ones. There is a lot of organizations out there that help you, but majority of the organizations are for adults, right? And I was 15, so I couldn't stay at a lot of the shelters. I could only stay at the youth ones, which really were just temporary shelters that were focused to get you back into your home. And it was kind of hard with them because they'd get me back in my home and then I'd be kicked out again. So they kind of got sick of that and said, well, too bad, you can't stay here because it's not working, right? So I'd have to lie about my age to get into adult shelters and stuff. I don't know, it was different. You had a lot of people that looked down on you because you were homeless, you were dirty. You start to feel like garbage. You feel like you can't do anything. You have a grade 9 education and life's just sucks, right? But really, even with like the police, they look down on you, right? They'd be stopping you every day, wondering what you're doing around the place, thinking that you're always trying to cause mischief, right? We'd have to stay in in stairwells. I remember one time we used to stay in the stairwell of the mall downtown. And some people are nice about it, like some security guards are nice about it. They'll just wake you up in the morning and say you gotta go. The other ones though, they'll sit there and they'll call the police on you and get you escorted out. And so it was really hard to find places to stay. We'd find parkades of apartment buildings. We'd find doorways cracked open or something, so we'd go stay in there. I remember one time we even stayed in a abandoned school bus. So it's really hard living on the streets when you're youth. There is organizations out there, but like I said, they're out there to get you back in your house, and if you can't get back in your house, then they can't help you, right? A lot of the people, some people, there's some youth that just don't want to follow rules, right? And then there's some that just the home life is just too bad, so they can't live there, right? You really find there's so many different stories, from all the people that you end up meeting, but majority, again, it's youth that don't want to follow rules, so they kind of rebel and just run away from home or whatever. But it was really hard to get a job when you don't have a high school education. Even McDonald's, they want you to have a high school education a lot of times. I was going in and out of jail every week. And then I got sentenced to 6 months, and then I got out, and I kind of started realizing that this ain't for me, right? I got to be able to do more. And so I left Thunder Bay. I knew I had to leave Thunder Bay because this was what was pulling me into all the trouble. I left Thunder Bay, and we were actually supposed to hitchhike to BC, and we stopped in Winnipeg, and then I ended up getting a job right away, and I ended up getting a girlfriend and stuff, so that we decided to stay. And in Winnipeg, I kind of separated from, I didn't know anybody there, so it was kind of like I could do my own thing, whereas here I was pulled into it, right? I'd see friends, so I'd want to do that, right? And then Winnipeg, I started working. I was living on my own. I had my own place and stuff, and it was starting to feel good, right? I was finally doing something, and then I started working for another guy, and he wanted to help me start my own business. So I started my own business doing renovations, and that really made me look at like what I really can do, even though I only have a grade 9 education. And so I really started working on that, and then I found my mom again after like all these years, and I kind of fell back into it because I was going out with a nurse then, and I stole her car, and then I went to Calgary, and because I wanted to see my mom, right? And I kind of fell back into it, and I got out of jail from there, and I was like, well, I can't do this no more, right? And I came back to Thunder Bay, and I look at my friends now that from then, and they're still doing the same thing. And it's like, why? There's so much more out there than this. And so now, even living here, it's hard because I see the people and I want to do it, and I want to be able to go hang out with them again and go do drugs again and stuff. But now now I have kids, and that's straightened me out a lot too, because I don't want to do that. I don't want them to see that. I don't want them to be around that. And I want them to have a better life than I did, right?
Talk a little bit about the schooling that you're in now.
Yeah. So not the December that just passed, but December of, I guess that'd be 2009, my girlfriend's uncle had suggested that I go to school at the Friendship Center, and I actually thought it was just for Aboriginal people to go to school there. And like I have Aboriginal background, but I'm not full-blooded Aboriginal, right? So I was kind of iffy about it. And then my uncle took me down there, and me and Peter talked and stuff, and we found out that it's not just for Aboriginal people. And then I started going to school there, and I always wanted to finish my schooling. And then there would always end up being something that would happen, like my grandfather passed away, and then I quit school again and just gave up, right? So be able to focus and keep on track was a hard thing to do, especially from living on the streets. It kind of drew you down, so it kind of made you feel that you can't be anything, right?
I think what impresses me about Ian is how someone came to us late October 2009, and not everyone who comes here, shall we say, gets into it and decides, yes, this has something to offer them, but Ian did. As soon as he made this realization, which would be later that year, he really got into the work, and he started to bug us to get help. In other words, to keep moving along and to get his credits.
I started with 0 credits, doing upgrading, and now I have almost all my credits except 2. So in a year and a half, I've been able to really accomplish that, and it's been awesome. It's really shown me what I can do.
Later on, last year, he had been so successful that we decided that we were going to recommend him for Humanities 101 at Lakehead University. He readily accepted, he was accepted, he went through the course. I guess the short thing I'm saying about Ian is that when he sees an opportunity, he will take it, and he will do whatever it takes to realize that opportunity in his life.
The first class, I was really kind of scared, and it was kind of different, right? I heard of university as like for these top-notch people, right? And then I started going to the classes more and more, and I started realizing more that it's not just for those top-notch people, it's for anybody, really. You can be 30 years old and still go to university. You don't have to be a 19-year-old anymore. So I really enjoyed the class, and I ended up being the valedictorian for it, and that really showed me what I could do. And then, so I wanted to go back to university in the fall, except just some things happened and I ended up getting sidetracked, so I didn't apply. But I do want to go in September.
He was so galvanized by Humanities 101 that he made a conscious decision to get university level courses so that he could attend university. In fact, he had his path figured out. It was going to be business administration. He was going to get his degree. This meant going back and changing courses he had already taken to get the next level up. In other words, he was prepared to sacrifice work he had already done to get farther ahead to realize what his goals were.
So Peter came up to me in December and asked me if I wanted to volunteer for this kiosk project that they were going to do, and I agreed to it. He helped me through my high school, so why not, right? The name of the project is the 7 Grandfather Teachings Kiosk Project, and it's a pilot project funded through INAC. And what it does, it helps spread the word about the 7 grandfather teachings, which are Aboriginal teachings. And no matter if you're Aboriginal or what culture you are, you follow these teachings. There's love, respect, bravery, humility, wisdom, truth, and honesty. And then later on, I guess I don't know if they couldn't find a facilitator or something, so he called me up and he asked me if I'd be interested in being a facilitator, and it was a paid position. And then I looked it over and I found that I didn't have a lot of the skills. So we talked about it, and they understood that I didn't have the skills, but it was a great way for me to learn these skills, right? And Peter was there to help me, so if I needed any help, he could help. So I started this project and I really loved it. It was awesome. It was a great learning opportunity. It opened so many doors for me, right? And then we started doing the project, we started getting the participants in, and I started training the participants, and I really loved it. And then we started to do the celebration, and it's really improved my skills a lot. Like, I've been able to learn marketing, I've been able to learn retail skills, I've been able to do facilitating and deal with problems that happen with your employees. In the future, I see me going back to university and getting my master's and my bachelor of arts in business, and then getting my master's in accounting. I actually want to be an accountant, but with this position, it's opened up more doors, and it's made me want to do other things too. So, so hopefully, I'm pretty sure that this job opportunity that I'm doing has opened up many more aspects of life that I could focus on later in the future.
People come to us for a variety of reasons. A number of them are sent by social agencies. Another number come because the word is out on the street that this is a place where you can be comfortable, where you can get your grade 12, where it's safe, okay? And we really try very hard to do that. But when I say people come to us, they come to us with a lot of their issues and a lot of difficulties that they've faced in lives. And quite honestly, it is an act of heroism on more than half of my students' part simply to show up every day they can. They come here hungry, they come here cold, they come here abused. I have 5, as we speak, I have 5 homeless students right now. They're couch surfing. And I don't know how anybody can concentrate on schoolwork when you're couch surfing like that, but they do. They come in here. And we do the best we can for them. And when you get to know them, this is my experience almost invariably, when you get to know them, you not only see the heroism, but you see this person in depth. You see some of the things, you get glimmerings of what they are capable of. And for my money, these are the best students in the city. They are amazing people. They are heroic people. And invariably, I learn more from them than I'm able to teach them. All I can do is English and math. They teach me life.